However, when you step outside this little beautiful quadrangle that we're in, out into the developing world, the challenges remain very chilling. Way out there, when times are tough and prices go up, it is the girl who is taken out of school. Way out there, when there is not enough food, the boy gets fed, the girl does not. And it's worse in times of conflict. In modern war, 90% of all casualties are civilians, people not in uniform. 75% of them are women and children. That's the bad news. The good news is that from Wall Street to West Africa, philanthropists and economists have discovered the value of investing in girls and women. Notice I said investing, because it turns out that putting your money on girls and women is just good business. This new awareness goes way beyond jokes about the possibility of better results if, for example, one firm had been named Lehman Sisters. This is not about women's lib. This is about women's lives, which means it is also about the survival of children and men throughout the planet. I've seen some very heartening signs of progress. On assignment in Liberia, I met the unbelievably courageous market women who helped end nearly 14 years of civil wars by pulling a trick right out of my ancient Greek texts. Until their husbands agreed to sit down for peace talks, the women refused sex. In Nicaragua, I met an American medical team volunteering their services to the women who pick and sort coffee beans. They did screening for them and instantly treating cervical cancer, which in fact is saving lives. And thanks to an organization that is helping victims of rape in Congo, women-owned businesses are making a profit and allowing their children, many for the first time, to go to school. And here in the U.S., we now have our very first ambassador for global women's issues, reporting directly to the Secretary of State. That would be our Secretary of State. You are entering a world that is beginning to understand women's needs, to respect women's value, and to crave women's power at last. My generation didn't make all of this possible, and we didn't do it all perfectly. Sometimes I think we overly dismissed our stay-at-home moms. Sometimes I think we may have demanded too little of ourselves. Perhaps we offended or overreached, but we did what we thought we had to, given the odds that we faced. We measured those odds, and we saw our goals, and we reached a number of them. Look how the imperative has flipped. Today, as a very sensible friend of mine from California observes, we don't need strong women to think like men. We need more strong men to think like women. Not, by the way, that I think Wellesley ought to produce them, but that's a separate story. And consider this. My generation is not so easy to get rid of. Some of us are busily redefining retirement as we adjust to a landscape greatly altered by technology. The challenge for journalism, my business, is immense. Trying to cope in a world where news has moved from the living room to the laptop, from a giant studio to a tiny space on your phone or on your dashboard or whatever fits into your hand. I am completely convinced that someday the news will be delivered on our electric toothbrushes. So in a way, you and I are very much alike. As you start out in your lives, and I am starting out on the rest of mine, we're both saying, now what? This is not a race. We are focused in different directions. But I hasten to inform you that while our gender is now generally accepted, our gray hairs are not. Fair warning. And there's something else you're going to find out there, something that just doesn't seem to go away. It is the question that continues to nag every single working woman in America. And it is best illustrated by a cartoon that I cite every time I get the chance. It's a barnyard scene, and there's a mother hen in the front, and there's two hens in the back, and the two hens in the back are gossiping about the one in the front. And the caption, which is the one hen to the other in the back, is, "How she's able to manage a career and still juggle her family, I'll never know." I know the answer. The eggs get scrambled. Get used to it. As contemporary women, we have reinvented every stage of our lives, turning dissatisfaction with convention into new rules for success, trying to reshape the battle of the sexes into a more practical form of peaceful coexistence. Once unwelcome in all but the lowest pockets of journalism, my generation of female reporters hit the business when a job could become a profession, when we begged, then demanded, then won the right to work. We came on the scene as girls who were supposed to know our place, which was nowhere. Today, with the privileges we've earned as powerful women, we know that our place is everywhere. I beg you to remember how we and you got there and how long it took. I urge you not to reject feminism as a four-letter word. It is a good, precise term. It means you believe that women are people. Thank you. It means you believe that women are people who have rights and responsibilities equal to those of men. Nothing more, nothing less. And it doesn't signify warfare, because men are not the enemy and we are only part of the solution. We're all flying on this planet together. And as the multitasking gender, we are definitely smart enough to make compromises when we need to. I certainly did. As a new wife and unexpected stepmom, I turned political campaigns into social studies lessons for 3 young boys. And I regularly put politicians on hold when the plumber returned my phone call. My priorities have always been very clear. I have also faced the heartbreak of death too soon and come out on the other side. My husband died of cancer. I'm a cancer survivor. But I'm betting that every woman here, every person here, in fact, has a similar story, or will, because that, certainly for us, is the story of women's lives. We dream, we cope, and we endure. And we keep on learning. Today, I am a proud grandma also, and here is what my grandchildren have taught me. The joy of unconditional love, the unbearably adoring tug of a tiny little hand, the right way to leap off the bridge in Super Mario. I can identify each of the Wiggles by name, and just try me on Hannah Montana. That is also the story of women's lives. As yours begins anew, I have a couple of suggestions. When we're done here, first thing, thank your families for footing the bill and for understanding that you and Wellesley are worth it. Remember our history as you make your own. And while the media world descends into shout-fests and outlandish opinion saturating the blogosphere, please don't let the widening political divide hijack your dreams or weaken the intellectual rigor that you learned here. There are some people, some very famous people, who are saying some very silly things out there, things that are just plain wrong. Fight them back. Fight them back with facts, because facts matter. There are standards of truth, and we should demand nothing less. Back in 1902, my hero, Susan B. Anthony, the woman who understood the truth that women deserve the right to vote, contemplated the changes during her own extraordinary life. She was 82, older than even I am, and she was slowing down, which I am not. But her voice resonates perfectly as you are about to step out of this quad and into the world. There's so much yet to be done, she said. I see so many things I would like to do and say, but I must leave it for the younger generation. We old fighters have prepared the way, and it is easier than it was 50 years ago when I first got into the harness. The young blood, she said, fresh with enthusiasm, must carry on the work. So carry on, carry us with you, continue the revolution, know that we are right beside you, and just in case you are wondering what direction to take, consider one more thing Miss Anthony said. It was 1905. I firmly believe, she predicted, that someday a woman will be President of the United States. I urge you to go for it. It is our tradition, and it's about time. Congratulations, class of 2010.